Hello, everybody. It is the end of April, and you know what that means. So I'm going to be talking about the movies I watched during this month, and I hope you're having a great social distance and staying safe. So without a further ado, here are the movies I watched this month. So the first one, of course, is Alps, directed by Yorgo Lanthimos. This is a Greek film. It's valuable on the Criterion Collection. It's about a woman who helps people through grief by taking over the role of the person who they lost. It's definitely an intriguing film. A lot of the cinematography is beautiful. The acting is great. There's a lot of interesting things about this movie. Um, I would definitely highly recommend it. And Yorgo Lanthimos is a very interesting director. All right, and then so the next one we have Dazed and Confused, directed by Richard Linklater. You know me, I'm a huge Richard Linklater guy. This was seriously an awesome movie experience. It's a to me, it's like an earlier version of Superbad. The movie takes place in Texas, and it explores a group of high school seniors as they graduate their last day, and the kind of things that go around it, and the stuff of just wanting to be a young adult and not really have to take on maturity. Uh, it's really good. And you got them Matthew McConaughey going, all right, all right, all right. It's my best attempt. So later in that time, I watched a film called 4 Months, 3 Weeks, and 2 Days. It's a Romanian drama slash kind of thriller. Um, what's really interesting about this movie is kind of all the uh, steps women would have to take to be able to perform an abortion, and kind of the unsafe and things that they risked in that kind of thing. But this film is a really good film. Good experience. There's great acting, and there's so much tension built up in this movie, and I just really enjoyed it. So next, I decided to finally catch Uncut Gems. This was a movie I was holding off for a while, but it is a kind of thriller type movie. It features Adam Sandler as the main protagonist, and he really does a great performance in this film. There's just so much going on, and it's kind of like one of those movies where the guy gets himself into so much more trouble than he needs to be. But there's the amount of things going on in this film really makes it work, and I really thought it was a really awesome experience and a really great film. All right, so then next I'm gonna go off with I actually watched Fleabag, the play, directed by Phoebe Waller-Bridge and also performed by her. I really love the television series and the play, the one performance play. I watched it on Amazon Prime. It was available as a money to go to charity, but it was a really great experience. I usually never watch one person plays, but I was really into it, and I really liked the adaptation from the TV show, and I really thought Phoebe Waller-Bridge as always is a great actress, and she's really funny and witty. Next is the Florida Project. This is directed by Sean Baker. Was a really interesting movie. It kind of reminded me of Honey Boy in a way, which of course this movie came out before Honey Boy. But basically, the movie is about a couple of kids as they are living in a motel run down by individuals going through poverty and the families going through poverty and kind of seeing the difficult things they have to live through. Um, and the kids, even though this is um, a hard life for the adults, the kids kind of see these as an adventure. As of course, these are hotels near Disneyland, I believe, Disney World, whatever one's in Florida, of course. But William Defoe, as always, is a really great actor, and I think he might have won a supporting role for this, or at least got nominated, which of course I could see why. So the next film I came across is called Life Itself. It's directed by Dan Fogelman, who, if you're not familiar with, I believe he did some writing and directing for This Is Us. This movie was really, really interesting. I didn't realize what I wasn't really didn't know what I was expecting. Oscar Isaac's performance in this is really great. Um, there's so many different ways these characters are connected, and it kind of goes in very different ways that you don't really expect it to. It is a bit tragic and sad, but for some reason, it also felt filled with joy and happiness at the same time. So I definitely would recommend watching this, and let me know what you think about it. So the next, of course, is The Perks of Being a Wallflower, directed by Stephen Chbosky, who also wrote the original young adult novel. Um, this movie is still gone so well, even though how much it has aged. It was originally released about 8 years ago. Um, it's still like a great, heartwarming movie and story. Um, Still always gets me at time the ending, just being sad that it's over. Um, but I really recommend this to anybody. I think it's definitely good to show young adult kids. I think they would really love it. Finally, I watched a documentary of the late great Anton Yelchin called Love and Natasha. He's done a couple of movies. He's been in the new Star Trek trilogy. He was also, if you ever seen Fright Night, I love that movie growing up. The remake, of course. It just kind of talks about the things that the challenges he had to go through with cytofibrosis, and just his love for movies and film, which I can also relate to. And he just really cared about people, and it was such a beautiful portrait of a life that was unfortunately taken too quickly. Of course, the next is Merkowitz Stories, directed by Noah Baumbach. If you know, I've been enjoying a lot of Noah Baumbach films lately. This one is available on Netflix. It has, Ben Stiller, Adam Sandler, Dustin Hoffman. There's a lot of great performances. Um, it's really interesting and I think really unique, and it has the way families kind of have conversations and they kind of interrupt each other. I thought it was just so realistic. I think Baumbach always has unique portrayals of family dysfunction, and but the way we still love our families, and I thought it was a really great movie. So I got down to watching Shirkers, which is a documentary using a lot of film footage that a young student really loved when she was taking film and directing her own movies. What's interesting about this story is how they lost all the footage because this guy kind of stole it that they were working with closely, and it was very strange particular situation, but it kind of just goes through about that loss of artwork that they worked heartily on and how all of it was gone. But it's a very awesome documentary, and there's so much. The cinematography that they did when they were originally shooting these films is so unique, and it's interesting to see it show up so many years later. And then finally, I ended up April with. Oh, one sec. Did my webcam go away? Where is my webcam? There it is. So finally, I ended up April with watching a film called Pain and Glory. It did get nominated for an Oscar, um, maybe a couple, for Best Foreign Film. Did not win. Of course, it lost to Parasite. But this was a really, really good film. Um, I didn't know what to expect, of course, but I really thought the acting was really good, and I really liked the way it went back from him as a child to him as an adult. Uh, and there's so many. This was such a unique movie, and I really enjoyed every second of being in this film. And it was a really great way to end off the month. It's available on Amazon to rent on video, of course, and I would highly recommend it. So that was my list. I can't wait to continue watching movies in May. Let me know if there's anything that you've been enjoying, and have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you soon.